and thank you for joining us today. Our goal is to provide you with beneficial insight that will help you avoid mistakes and get the most out of your investment as your organization prepares for a business transformation. Before we started, let me review a few guidelines for the session. Since we'll be muted for the duration of the presentation until we get to our Q&A period. We encourage everyone to submit questions. You can access the chat and Q&A feature of WebEx. To ask a question directly during Q&A, click the raise hand button at any time for the webinar, and I will unmute your phone when we get to the Q&A session. You can adjust the size of your webinar screen with the plus or minus buttons at the bottom right of your screen. Please note each webinar will be recorded and that you are subscribers to this webinar series and will have access to the recordings at the conclusion of the series. Then listen back in as a resource for the future. If you're not able to attend the full series or if you miss a day, we encourage you to request the recordings and watch and listen to each event to gain a full perspective on each vendor and their capabilities. Following the conclusion of this week's event, an Alter team member will reach out to you with a link to the recordings that you could view. This is Web Marketing Program Manager at Alter and your moderator for today's webinar. Our agenda today includes a brief overview of Alter Consultants, insights from Alter into cloud enterprise software, and a product presentation and demonstration of Microsoft Dynamics by our guests from Merit Solutions. Or question and answer during the last 5 to 10 minutes of today's session. Let's take a brief moment to let you know that Alter is serving as your host and moderator today and throughout the week. To note that Alter Consultants is a vendor-independent consulting firm. Our services are exclusive to the manufacturing and distribution industries. We have served hundreds of customers, thousands of team members across millions of enterprise users. Managers and distributors throughout North America, as well as companies with global operations, have teamed with Alter and used our team as trusted advisors through the ERP and enterprise technology selection and implementation process. Hundreds of teams from companies like yours have turned to Alter's expertise since 1994. Being a independent consulting firm means main things. Partners for guiding you in your vendor education and selection, and that's where we help you get to know in depth the enterprise software vendors and implementation practices, but for your company and your unique project needs. And second, we are also your partner for helping you discover improvements throughout your organization using your chosen technologies. We do our business process improvement service, which we call BPI. We found the education is a key component when considering an ERP project. To that end, the focus of the series is on how does today's technology support your specific operation, what is possible with cloud technology for organizations looking to replace or upgrade their ERP system, and a look at the top technology providers offering industry-leading cloud solutions for the manufacturing and distribution industries. Offering of blogs, white papers, case studies, lunch and learn, and on-demand webinars to help you on your journey. As you continue your research on cloud ERP, be sure to check out Alter's white paper, 5 Steps to Doing a Cloud ERP Transformation Plan and Selecting a Vendor. This provides executive teams and leaders the information that you need to know about cloud ERP evaluations and help guide you in choosing the best solution for your company. A link to download these white papers will be sent to you via chat momentarily. Our discussion today is Jeff Carr, founder and CEO of Alter Consultants. He is a sought-after expert in manufacturing technology. Expertise comes from over 40 years of experience in manufacturing and distribution. During his career, Jeff has led several organizations as chief executive, including 2 software companies and 1 service company. Organizations have helped over 1,200 manufacturing companies select and implement new information systems, a reputation as the leading expert on manufacturing software vendors and their products. And now, without further ado, I will hand it over to Jeff to kick off today's discussion. Jeff?
Nathan, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, loud and clear.
So this week, as part of our presentations, we're going to have a section called Ultra Insights, and we're going to cover 3 different topics. Today, we're going to talk about the language of cloud, and tomorrow we'll talk about the benefits of cloud solutions, and on Thursday, we'll talk about evaluating the cloud vendor space. When we say the hardware and therefore the software are on-premise or in our building, what we are really saying is that we have taken responsibility for everything. Thing includes a very key service. Upgrades are performed by staff of our company, not by the software vendor or some other third party. So a clear distinction between on-premise and cloud. The cloud means many things, depending on who is speaking and the topic. All it means is that your business has access to a system that is not in your building. It is not on-premise. And what you could see and highlight here, cloud delivery method. There are different terms that are used interchangeably. However, each term truly has a specific meaning. As a service, and that's the nickname of it in the industry. SaaS does not mean that the software is in the cloud. It is a payment method. So SaaS is a payment method. All cloud applications use this type of payment. A tenant is another definition in the cloud world. This is a delivery method where typically the software vendor has taken on the management, the upgrades of the ERP system at their own facility, but there's only one company per database instance of the software. Multi-tenant. A single tenant, except that there are multiple companies on the same instance of software. Note some organizations try to claim that multi-tenant is multiple systems on the same hardware. This is true. A true multi-tenant cloud solution will not merely share hardware, but the database as well. Multi-tenant and single tenant becomes very important when you have a company that wants to do consolidations and reporting. You need to think that through when you're looking at single tenant or multi-tenant in terms of the vendor. Looking at this slide, we went from not cloud attributes to true cloud attributes. In the middle, we have cloud, which is when an ERP vendor will offer hosting services and take ownership of the upgrade. This is close to a single tenant cloud. This being that in True Cloud 1.0, we have a single tenant solution with mandatory upgrades. The environment is the same between All's Cloud and True Cloud 1.0. The heights of this page draw our attention to three basic premises of True Cloud. Number one, cloud is off-site. True Cloud is a subscription, and True Cloud is both updated by the vendor and mandatory with a specific time window. To alters 3 premises of True Cloud. Upgrades are not mandatory. You have an environment that is almost cloud or Cloud 1.0, where it is hosting the software for you on their server and one database and instance per customer. Discuss the key benefits of cloud solutions. It will be available to you at the conclusion of the series if you missed a session. You can visit Ultra's websites for more education on cloud ERP. So hopefully that definition of terminology was helpful. I might have some questions later on as we get into the presentation and some questions that you might have at the end. Be happy to stay on and listen to questions and try to answer them. What I do today is my next job is to introduce the folks from Merit Solutions. So we asked Microsoft to present today. So they've asked Merit Solutions, which is an implementation partner and a partner of Microsoft, to do the presentation. Merit Solutions has been in the industry for quite a while. I'm going to let them tell more about it. I'm going to pass the controls over to Mike Aubuchon here in a minute, but I want to introduce Mike. Mike and I have known each other for probably 20 years now. So Mike has been in the ERP market space, systems to companies in manufacturing and distribution for many years. He's outstanding knowledge of the world of ERP and the evolution of ERP in the cloud. So I'd like to introduce Mike, and he's going to introduce Chris Berg, who's also going to be doing the presentation. Mike, thanks so much for attending today and being part of our program. I'll turn it over to you now to introduce Merit and Microsoft.
Jeff, thank you so much for such a gracious introduction. Can everyone see my screen that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Well, thank you, sir. Merit Solutions, what we'd like to show you today is talk a little bit about Microsoft, more about Microsoft's new cloud platform, Dynamics 365, which has been available to the public for a year and a half. And we also like to spend time with using our Rapid 365 solution. That we put together today is to do a brief review of Merit Solutions to give you a little background on our organizations, talk about a couple of our clients to understand how we've deployed a solution. We want to talk a bit about our Rapid 365 implementation methodology. It is a best practice deployment methodology that kind of is a game changer for ERP implementation. Briefly mention our Merit Care or ongoing support. Chris actually will talk a little bit about Dynamics 365, spend a little time on our Azure cloud. We deploy this solution on through Microsoft. And then Chris Berg, who's a solution architect for Merit Solutions, will actually present our Rapid 365 solution and give a navigation overview of Dynamics 365. Simply about Merit Solutions. Merit Solutions is a partner of Microsoft. We are 100% focused on their ERP and cloud platform. And when I do say Enterprise Resource Planning Solutions, we are a gold certified partner for enterprise planning, as well as a gold certified partner for the delivery mechanism. We've actually been developing and deploying solutions in the Azure cloud environment for over 7 years now. Look at our organization. People or organizations like Deloitte and the Accounting Today group have viewed us as a rising star as a consulting organization. We were recently named in the top 20 businesses or workplaces in the state of Illinois, where we are headquartered. And year over year, we consistently win awards from Microsoft for sales and supporting their organizations. Merit Solutions has been in business for 19 years now. We have 70 employees. A majority of those are either technical or functional consultants. We have 6 offices across the globe. 5 of the 6 are in North America. Our corporate offices are in a town by the name of Wheaton, Illinois, a western suburb of Chicago. And we also have a development office in Eastern Europe. Our client base, we have over 500 clients. The first thing you'll see on that slide is we have a 96% client satisfaction rate. In the industry where failure is too often the case in a deployment of ERPs, as a lean organization, Merit stands proud that we put out quarterly surveys to our clients. We listen to how we're doing quarter over quarter and how we can perform better for our clients. That's a big differentiator in the industry and something everyone at Merit is compensated on as to how well we're performing for our clients quarter over quarter. If you look at our numbers really quickly, we've got an average experience of about 14 years in D365. For 2, we've been providing development for Microsoft on these same solutions we deploy. We have, when you see our client base, you'll see we have created custom applications for many of our clients. And, you know, we have a great technical team supporting. Besides the Dynamics 365 product, which includes both operations or ERP and sales, which is the CRM solution, we also have a practices that focus on mobile solutions, IoT, connecting that shop floor to the system so you can have real-time data, and cloud infrastructure and support. And if you look at our team there, we have, you know, many years of experience and history with Microsoft. We have practitioners that are Microsoft MVPs on our team. Then we have a solution, Merit Care, and that's a support mechanism to keep, you know, the ongoing operational clients. If they have questions or concerns, we have a support mechanism in place to answer any questions that may come up. Just briefly, if you look at Merit Solutions, what you see there is a lot of manufacturing organizations. I think about manufacturing and Merit, I categorize it into 3 forms. One would be our global deployment process for organizations like Wall Clipper or Volcano Corp. I think about organizations that are supply chain manufacturers, again, like Wall or Georgia's Nut Company. A final area is lean manufacturing. Many of these companies are lean and visual-based, so our solutions for connected lean play well for them. The final area is in the area of science or FDA-regulated industry. You'll see a cross-section of food and beverage producers, and you'll also see organizations that could even be T-cell or pharmaceutical manufacturers. So that in a nutshell, if you think of Merit and our consultants, we focus closely on global manufacturing for life science organizations that manufacture in a lean methodology. A couple of quick case studies. Supremo is a cheese manufacturer of high-end Mexican cheeses. They were a company that had disparate systems, about 15 different systems operating their business, all on-premise. That company wanted to get to the cloud as quickly as possible to offload the costs and care and feeding, if you will, of their solution. V&V Supremo selected Dynamics 365 over SAP and Infor because of the true cloud solution. Now, their deployment includes the EF solution, an M solution, and one solution, which I'll talk to in a slide, Merit's extended quality functionality in their Max Life solution, IoT deployment, which is actually pulling from the shop floor data on scales and productivity, mobile from the perspective of direct store delivery solution as well. Onpremise is just one example of a multi-plant deployment in a federally regulated industry. And another regulated industry, this is a D365 Rapid365 deployment. Tara Biopharma was a former NetSuite user, but they had grown to the point that the Net solution wasn't effective for them. So they selected our 65 and deployed Rapid365, which talking a bit more about as this presentation proceeds, and was able to actually deploy the solution in 4 months, and now are completing the operational portion of their deployment as well. 365. This, if you look at it in its entirety, incorporates the former Dynamics CRM solution and the former Dynamics AX solution. Functionality that was deployed and moved to an HTML5 format up in the cloud includes sales and customer service, field service, and marketing. It includes a tool set called Lifecycle Services, which Chris will show some functionality of today. Talent, which is an HR component, and of course we're going to talk a bit about Merit's Rapid365 solution. If you think about Merit solutions and how I had talked about our other areas, if you at the outside of this slide, where you talk about Office 365, Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, the data service available to have all of these tools connect, Chrono Intelligence, which is voice-activated solutions, PI, Azure IoT, and AppSource. AppSource is where Microsoft has you store apps for that. Merit Solutions has several apps available in the Microsoft App Store to deploy with your ERP deployment. Just wanted to get a snapshot of what the industry leaders are saying, and I don't really have to spend a lot of time here. In the axes of greater stability and better functionality, clear leader in this for ERP in 2017 is Microsoft and their D365 solution. Rapid365. Rapid365 is a pre-built, pre-tested solution. This is done by creating best practice solutions built in the business process model library, which we'll actually show you as part of our presentations. We're also going to show you task guides, which is a way to show step by step of how you perform any task that happens to be one of these best practice work streams. And Rapid365 also offers us a streamlined methodology for implementation, where I like to say it's instead of our consultants showing up Monday morning with a venti latte and asking you how you run your business, you just get going and get out of those gates quickly and actually show up and sit down in a series of 3 workshops over a 3-month period and deploy a solution. Very impressive. So think about Rapid365 and Azure's Lifecycle Services. basically what we do is we provide a very predictable deployment that is extremely automated and very proactive for the end users to be involved in these workshops and understand how this solution will work for them. 365 basically takes the traditional ERP My Way methodology and actually condenses it, and it does it through a series of workshops. So instead of doing a solution identification where you map your feature, which is traditional in ERP My Way deployments, into design, configuration, and deployment, you review at startup, you review the work streams that would have ramifications for your operations. You actually go through the process of reviewing those, selecting the appropriate work streams to operate your business, and then deploy and train. So at this, what we see is a solution that gets implemented with 50% less time, of course, at well under the cost of an ERP My deployment. If you want to look at a sample of what a Rapid365 schedule would look like, basically, here's a breakdown of a timeline in hours. We start with our solutions overview workshop to migrate data to test, then to a second to fourth series of workshops for the process focus, then data testing focused, and security focused to make sure that the environment is set up appropriately and is secure for your organization. So Rapid365, again, this pre-configured work streams are basically across these categories where we spend time where the system is pre-configured for general ledgers and journal activities, cash and banking, fixed assets is typically part of these initial financial deployments, organization and administration, which is really kind of high-level view of your organizational and its hierarchies, receivables and payables, budgeting, financial reporting, and systems administration and high-level HR, more of an employee master than anything else. It's not what you would get with the system. And here also extended the work streams to support supply chain and manufacturing. Very forthright in our that our works are a little more vague and high level in the area of inventory management, warehousing, sales and marketing, how P's set up, how items in manufacturing are processed. The reason for that is there's really not any two manufacturers that are alike, and I would hate to say that was likely true for a warehousing scenario as well. So we give a great baseline here. If you were looking to deploy in a rapid methodology, there will be additional work likely in these areas. So basically, our mission here is to actually support our clients ongoing after the consulting team gone through its workshops and trained you on how to operate the software. And there's a 24/7 service. It also incorporates infrastructure and security, support of mission-critical apps, whatever it would take to have your system up and running. At the end, providing additional value for your organization. So, startup and execution, our key for us. We actually introduce our merit care practitioners to organizations during our first phase of the deployment. Beyond that, we get them involved at go live as well. So the merit care practitioner understands how the system was deployed, which best practice work streams were selected, and how, when this client is operational, they will be required to support the client. We do 3 levels of merit care, and we also offer a hybrid of the 3, depending on each individual user's requirements. Here's just a snapshot of what's covered with the basic, standard, and complete solutions. And, you know, again, certainly can be altered, or you can start with a complete solution in year 1, move back to a standard merit solution in year 2, and then 3. Hopefully, in year 3, hopefully your practitioners are a little more self-sufficient. I just want to spend a few moments here on the Azure platform before I do hand the baton to Chris. But the platform is owned by Microsoft. It has the security. I've got actually a slide that shows their compliance and controls in a little bit. It allows you to adjust controls as your organization requires, or give transparency as well. If you look at Azure, there are over 42 Azure regions deployed now. These regions, with exception to China and Germany, are 100% owned by Microsoft Corporation. Though Microsoft is not the biggest provider of services, though they are gaining on it daily, they do own almost all of their infrastructures. Microsoft is also connected locally with hundreds of service providers, and finally go across thousands of enterprises. Microsoft has invested more than any other organization in this type of infrastructure. I talked compliance 2 slides ago. This is very much a solution. I think if you look across the regions, you see we're supporting Germany, who's very difficult on-prem, requires even 4 cloud solutions. Definitely EU, etc. Certainly by industry, and, you know, various U.S. governmental agencies as well. At this point, I would like to stop sharing and pass the baton to Chris Berger.
Thank you, Mike. Verificational. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually walk you through the Dynamics 365 for Operations solution. From an overview standpoint, we'll be covering some basic navigation and user interface, going over some personalization, and then I'm going to show you some of the Rapid 365 product Mike has been talking about, and showing some of the core capabilities, such as some workflow and some reporting. So without further ado, one of the first things you'll notice is right away, Dynamics 365, it is cloud-based, so you can access the application from essentially anything that you can access the internet with, whether that's a smartphone, if you're on an airplane that has Wi-Fi, you're in a vehicle, whatever it may be, you're no longer restricted to a server or a hard line into a specific single-threaded solution. You can now access the application from anywhere you can access the internet. One of the few things I wanted to bring up was the navigation. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. As I go ahead and launch my navigation pane on the left here, you will see that I have different favorites, recents, modules, workspaces. This is going to be very similar to a web browser. If I just open up my favorites, yes, I can pin favorites to my application. I can go in and I can look at my recent forms that I've just been working with, whether that be the last hour or 2 hours yesterday. And then also Workspaces. I'll cover Workspaces in a few minutes because that's something new to Dynamics 365. And our I would call it generic module with the Dynamics 365. Obviously, this is going to be more for power users, but our modules include all of the different list forms, setups, inquiries, reports, all of these pieces. And the workspaces I'll get into in a few minutes. What they do, they consolidate a number of these pertinent forms within the modules and they dump them into a workspace. So you're only seeing what is applicable for you to process your day-to-day activities, and you don't have to open up the modules and kind of surf through these and figure out where exactly do I need to go. Before I do that, I did want to show you, Mike mentioned the ability to go out and see different apps, whether it's an app source. I'll just go ahead and choose all apps from my left-hand pane. You will see a whole number of apps that you're probably familiar with, whether it's from Office 365, Project, PowerPoint. There's also additional functionality such as Power Apps. You can easily create your own mobile and Power App applications that sync directly into D365, Outlook, OneNote, a number of these features. And keep in mind, these aren't just, it's not just an interface or a product that attaches. These are actually embedded into the solution themselves. And then Mike mentioned App Source. All you have to do is choose Get More Apps, and it brings up your App Source library and shows you a number of different solutions you can come out and you can download, you can apply and install to your Dynamics 365 instance. You can also filter down by different product categories if I wanted to look at finance and operations and supply chain. And then healthcare, Mike mentioned that we do have our own solution. It's called MaxLife, but it really is easy as coming out to App Source and filtering down by the product I want to look at or add more horsepower to my application. And keep in mind, all of those apps go through an arduous process through Microsoft. They've been fully vetted and approved. So as you update your software over time, those applications have been approved and fully supported by Microsoft. Coming back to the workspaces, what you're seeing here, these are all tiles specific to the user in Dynamics 365 for operations. I am logged in as an administrative user right now, so I have access to all of these different workspaces. But for each of your individual users, what's great, after you go ahead and assign your users to particular roles, I'll go ahead and launch a different session that I'm logged into. As they are assigned to unique roles, the roles are only going to have the pertinent workspaces or the module access defined particular to that user. For this example, I am logged in as an accounts payable manager. And to dive into the workspace functionality, I did show you the traditional ERP forms before, but if I just go ahead and launch my vendor payments workspace, it's going to show me my summary tiles on the left. And keep in mind, these workspaces have been built by Microsoft, so these are out of the box, ready to go. I have list pages in the center and pertinent reports and forms over on the right. What's from a personalization standpoint is the ability for me to go ahead and actually add information onto my workspace. So if I wanted to go ahead and see some of my vendors, and I'll just go ahead and go to my accounts payable module. If I wanted to look at my vendors past due and I wanted to add that to my workspace, it's as simple as launching the vendors past due form. And then as this page loads, I can use add to workspace, choose vendor payments in a tile. I'll choose configure. It gives me the name of the tile, and if I want to show the count, I click OK, and I close out of my form, and I go ahead and launch vendor payments, and sure enough, I have a new tile here for vendors past due, shows my account is 10 that I specified. Just a great way for Snapshot to pull this information into my workspace, because every user isn't going to be the same. Some are going to want to see different tiles, and keep in mind, everything is configured for each individual user. So if I am the AP manager and I only want to look at vendors past due, it's only going to be applicable for my login as I pull this in. Another great feature from navigation is the ability to actually take these summary tiles and pin them to my dashboard. It's a simple right-click, choose personalization, and I can choose pin to dashboard. In this case, if I want to see on my dashboard some of these areas or counts, in this case, I have a vendor pay run of 7 vendor invoices that have not been posted or checks that need to be posted, I can add this. All I have to do is click off of my form, and when I come back to my dashboard here, it's showing me vendor payments and the count from the vendor pay run not posted with my count 7. So a lot of great functionality on the personalization. I want to come back and show you some of the ability to export to Excel and those functionalities. Before I do that, I'll just bring up the ability in the search bar within Dynamics 365. It has improved tremendously over the last couple of versions. I will just go ahead and start typing in trial balance, and the system is automatically going to generate smart search results based on my typing in, and I can actually dive into each of these different forms just based on the search. So in this case, I'll go ahead and go to trial balance, and I will choose calculate balances. I'm going to just generate a trial balance for you. This is going to, pull up different trial balances. I can run these by different dimensions. In this case, we have dimensions for business unit and department. Very easy to filter this down. If I only wanted to look at department 022, I could do that. Then it's going to bring up all the activities specific to that department. I can also from here go ahead and export to Excel. So just choose export trial balance. What that's going to do, it's going to allow me to, I can either download it and open it. I can post a SharePoint, but the ability to run a trial balance by financial dimension that I specified and come in here and doing any kind of slice and dicing in Excel, it's great for those that are Excel power users. I'm going to launch back into the platform itself, but from the trial balance, I also have the ability to drill down into the transaction. Out of mine, I can do that from a number of different forms within D365. I'll show you that from a management reporter standpoint, but it shows us the ability to drill in. I can also go to the transaction origin from this particular balance. I did want to cover some of the work streams that Mike talked about before as part of our Rapid365 offering. So one new pieces of functionality, or one of the enhanced pieces of functionality for Dynamics 365, where our Rapid365 solution lives, is what's called task guide. Task recorders live inside of the business process modeler. I'm just going to go ahead and show you where those are hosted right now. It's in a solution called Lifecycle Services, and this is a creation workspace between customers and partners as you go through an implementation. And through Lifecycle Services, I'll scroll across and choose Business Process Modeler. And this is going to open up the various task guides or work streams that we have included as part of the Rapid365 pre-configuration and pre-built work streams. Just to give you an example, if I choose financials and drill into general ledger, these are all various work streams that are available that we have created within Merit Solution based on industry standards and best practices that we use to deploy that Rapid product. So you're not starting from 0 and working your way up to 100. You have all of these predefined work streams already in the system and already in the software ready for you to use. And Mike mentioned those different workshops to do essentially a gap fit to ensure what work streams you need and just to make sure that they are going to fit your business needs. To give you an example, choose order to cash and choose sales order processing. Just highlight confirm a sales order. It's going to give me a nice description of what this task is. I can also click into sales or confirm sales order and get a nice little process flow with the various properties and process steps. I can also attach a video. So what we're looking at is Lifecycle Services, the place where you store these business processes that could be part of your solution. It's part of our Rapid365 offering. This is the best place to go access those. But I did want to show you what those look like within the application itself. So if I am new to Dynamics 365 and I'm just learning the system, or if I forgot how to process a various transaction, the help button here is a great way. In this case, I'll just go ahead and pretend I want to create a journal entry. I forgot how to, where to go to do this. What's of adoption here? I hit the journal and I just create a journal entry. What is incredibly powerful about these task guides in the Dynamics 365 is this is actually going to interactively walk me through all the steps. In this case, create a journal entry. Instead of just a list of steps, it's going to bring up this box down here, and it's going to tell me, go to the General Journal Processing Workspace. So go ahead and choose that. Then it's going to tell me to create a new journal. I will go ahead and do that. And then after I create the new journal, I specify what type or what name of journal it is, and it's going to walk me through all of the different steps into creating this record or posting this transaction in the system. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and I don't want to walk you through or bore you with all of the pieces of creating a general journal, but I did want to highlight another feature that we have. I did show the ability to export to Excel before. One of the great things about Dynamics 365 and the fact that it is fully embedded with Microsoft Excel is the ability to actually open various forms or transactions directly in Excel. It's as simple as choosing open in Microsoft Office. I could export it like I showed you before. In this case, because this is an actual journal voucher, I can choose open in Excel, my general journal entry. So after I do that, it opens the form directly in Microsoft Excel. It gives users the ability to actually manipulate, create data in Excel and push it back up into the ERP, not just an extract into Excel and then it's living on an island. It is actually fully synced. I can copy lines. I can add new lines. It's as simple as choosing add new, and I'll go ahead and choose that down here. It'll create a new line. I can specify my date, and keep in mind, this is what we're looking at here is essentially the exact same features and functionality you would get from processing this Dynamics 365 application, but to show you that syncing capability, I have $888 here. I'll just choose $555.55, and I'll choose my publish button. And what that's going to do is that's actually going to publish to the journal that I have open. All I need to do is come out to my journal, hit refresh, and here it is. My line has changed for those $555. Incredibly powerful way to do that. In terms of that rapid task guide and that library, I only showed you a couple of those, but just to show you some of the other features and functionalities to do that, I can use play recording as guide, and I can open it from Lifecycle Services. I can also put my tasks on a PC. So I'll just go ahead and choose open from Lifecycle Services. This is going out into the Azure cloud, and it's going ahead and referencing library of all of those task guides. So I have the ability to come in and take a look at some of these task guides. As you can see, we have a whole number of task guides: create journal entry, complete the ledger setup, create a single-line journal entry, allocation request, period status. All of these are specific to Merit Solutions. They're part of our Rapid 365 offering. And I forgot to mention the ability within the task recorder to go ahead and choose, or the ability to edit our tasks. So it's something where I have to define it, and I have, let's say it's a 20-step process. Well, I've decided to add 1099 vendors, so I have to go re-record it. I do not. All I have to do is come in to the task recorder, and from here, I can just go ahead and choose task recording. It will allow me to insert steps, move steps around, and this is a great vehicle to document standard operating procedures of your business over time, whether or not you're going to use it for a training tool, for ease of adoption to bring your employees up to speed, or for a faster implementation with our Rapid 365 offering. Just a lot of great features and functionalities with those task guides. Regarding workflow, I know that there was a piece I was hoping to cover. So Dynamics 365 comes out of the box with workflow. It's a way to track approvals and processes within the software. What we're looking at here is a workflow designer for a requisition. In this case, it's a purchase requisition. The example here is that anything under $5,000 gets automatically approved for a purchase order, but anything over $5,000 but below $25,000, and I'll just go ahead and show you the properties. Over $5,000 but under $25,000 needs to go through an approval process. So if it's between $5,000 and $25,000, I'll just show you as I come in and look at the properties here that I go ahead and assign this approval to a user. I can make it user-based. In this case, we have 3 users assigned that can handle this approval. We can set a time limit on days. We can also set a completion policy. Of these 3 people, only one needs to approve, or we can make a majority of approvers, a percentage, or all approvers. So a lot of flexibility on the workflow designer. I'll go ahead and close out of here and hop back into our demonstration in our D365. So after we've created and submit a purchase requisition, well, how does that workflow alert, or how do I get that I have additional work? Well, what happens is you will get this notification, whether it's in work items assigned to me, showing me that I have this purchase requisition. I can come into this purchase requisition, choose workflow. I can approve, reject it, request a change. I can view the history on it. So a lot of options there as we go through that approval process and notifications. Also, there is a workspace that comes out of the box that is called Employee Self-Service. At launch that, it's going to tell me what work items are assigned to me. Do I have expenses, certificates? Great way to track my project or my progress as an employee out the software. Okay, so that was the workflow pieces. I did want to cover some of the management reporting. So just quickly showcasing some of the pieces that come out of the box and some of the dashboards and the drill down capabilities. One of the new pieces we're getting a lot of great feedback on is called the CFO overview. For those that want an immediate pulse of the performance of their company in real time, the CFO overview, this is a Power BI dashboard that is embedded into the workspace, and it's going to go out and it's going to grab all of our data, real-time transactions, and put them in graphs and chart form. It's very consumable. It gives me a great representation in picture view. I also have filters over on the right-hand screen, so I can specify this. I only want to look at my financial overview for a certain date or for a certain year or for a specific organization. I can also add filters. Right now, we're just looking at this USMF company. If I choose DEMF and click off of my filter, our dashboard is going to automatically sync up, and it's going to pull the DEMF company right into my dashboard. So I get that great analysis, that 30,000-foot level of performance of my company side by side. I can do this for all of the companies I have within my organization. There's other pieces I could scroll through in here, being able to drill down, in this case, subledger insights into my top 10 products by revenue, customer age balances, drilling into these various balances, looking at them and looking at the balances in Excel. I did want to show you some of the other drill down capabilities through some of the financial statements. In this case, we can look at a 12-month trend income statement. I can look at trial balances, income statements, balance sheets, financial statements that actually get pulled right into my CFO overview workspace. From here, I can drill into a balance itself. And so I'll go ahead and minimize this filter. But as I drill into the balance, I can go ahead and choose voucher transactions. I can bring it back to the original document. I'll choose original document here and view details. I have worked my way back to my particular invoice journal for Contoso Europe. It's going to tell me it's a sales order, and it has my different lines, my quantities, my prices, whether there were discounts, the sales tax, the margins, contribution ratios, all of this data from a workspace and Power BI dashboard that is directly embedded into the solution itself. I am able to drill down to that particular voucher. Incredibly powerful, especially for a CFO, as it's managing an organization, and say, okay, what makes up that transaction? That's not making a lot of sense to me. Another dashboard I did want to show is it is called the sales and profitability performance, because this is another extremely powerful tool to get great sales insights into your organization. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the sales offset filter just so it can show you the data and the power. This is looking at top 10 customers by revenue group. I can also move across these tabs at the bottom here. We're looking at revenue by sales category, or revenue by product, top 10 product revenue and sales category. The ability to open up this data and go ahead and drill down and take a look and have these graphs automatically update using the filters on the right in terms of using the power of these actual cubes that are directly embedded into the solution. It's incredibly powerful. Keep in mind, all of these dashboards do come out of the box with the D365 product. They are available for free, and we've designed and built our Rapid365 solution and offering so that it works seamlessly with all of these dashboards. All you need to do is post your transactions. In this case, roll them up to the GL for the CFO overview, or from a sales standpoint, just make sure it gets captured at the subledger level. We're talking about, in this case, revenue by location. We have heat maps, the ability to click into, if I want to click into the West region here, it's going to drill down into the West region. It's going to give me a summary of the revenue by the West region. I can click over into the South region. Same thing. Being able to click into these, I can make it state by state, or the various pieces that are particular or specific to my industry. Incredible representation from a heat map. In addition to the heat map, I also have the ability to look at revenue and gross margin by customer over time. I can actually slide this curve back and I can say, all right, let's take a look at Contoso Europe. Here we are. Just hovering over this gives me an idea of their revenue and their margin at this particular date and time. I can drag and move this slider from left to right. I can also hit play, and so I can actually see the progression of my customers of revenue and gross margin over a particular time frame. Just a great way to look at the movement of all of these pieces as it moves over time, and be able to actually look at consumable data and have key decision points, and actually look at the evolution of my customers and the performance of a customer for my organization. So the I was giving today. Sorry, I went too fast. I can slow down, but I did want to turn it back to Kristen at this point to answer any additional questions.
I was on mute. Thank you, Chris. I did want to share with our attendees some upcoming webinars that we've got going on. As you embark on your journey, we've got a lot of educational resources for you. So I just wanted to put out a few of our webinars that we've got coming up. On the 21st, join Ultra and SAP for the webinar, Prepare for Intelligent ERP with 3 Key Technologies. 28th, join us for ERP Best Practices, managing the disruptive forces facing today's food and beverage processor, and that will be with Ultra and Sage. July 12th, don't miss Ultra's ERP Mid-Year Health Check. The webinar shares key considerations for an ERP health checkup with at the core of your business. You'll leave the webinar understanding the measures of the maturity and health of your system as you've been thinking about upgrading or replacing your standalone systems and manual processes used to run key business functions. You can register for any of these events at ultraconsultants.com/events. Nearing the end of the webinar, we've got 3 minutes left, so we'll see if we can squeeze in a quick question. Can you hear us? I saw a message that you lost audio for a second.
Yeah, can you hear me, Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of quick questions, and then we can call it a day. But first of all, Chris and Mike, is this Rapid365, is this a Microsoft service product, or is it a particular your company?
So the IP, the best practices of the configuration of the work streams is Merit IP. The forum for delivery, the in LCS, is all Microsoft technology. So we built this IP in Microsoft technology. So using all the Microsoft standard tools.
Great. Couple of just questions about have a location that's in another country that requires an on-premise solution, yet I want a cloud solution. How would I go about doing that? Do I mix and match cloud and on-premise?
Actually, you can mix cloud and on-premise. There is to be compliant in the country of Germany, you have to have on-premise versions of solutions. So Microsoft has a deployable on-site version of D365. So to answer your question, yes, Microsoft has an on-prem version. You have to back everything up in the Azure cloud. So that instance of your organization, you would be backing up in the corporate instance. Does that make sense, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay.
So still compliant multi-tenant, still compliant highest tier as you described solutions.
All right. Any other questions? Dean, I don't know if you've seen any, Kristen, that came through for attendees. If anybody's got any last-minute questions, please submit them right away.
That's it on my end.
All right. So that's all I have, so I'll let you finish it out.
All right. Well, that concludes today's session from all of us here at Ultra. Thank you to all of our attendees for participating today, and thank you to our presenters, Mike and Chris from Merit Solutions, for joining us. We wish everyone a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.